everybody, welcome. My name is Aiden. Welcome to Touch Skills. And today video we're going to talk about hacking and cybersecurity incidents. Lately, being in a company that doesn't experience cybersecurity seems to be extremely difficult. It's almost like you almost need to win a lottery to not get hacked. And this is happening more and more now. In fact, we have a latest hack incident that happened to Las Vegas casinos. And we'll watch this video and we're going to react to what they did wrong, what they did right, and maybe what we could learn from their incidents. So without further ado, let me switch to my other screen and let's watch this video together.
Some sophisticated hackers managed a big hit on two Las Vegas casino giants this past week at Caesars Palace and Harrah's. Many of their customers had their Social Security and driver's license information stolen. There were reports Caesars paid a ransom. At MGM properties, the hackers froze slot machine screens and ATMs, including at the Bellagio and MGM Grand. Elevators went out of order. Revolving doors stopped working. Some guests couldn't get into their rooms. Their key cards would not work. And so on and so on. It sounds like a nightmare for customers out there. Let's discuss with CNN digital producer John Sarlin and Glenn Gerstel. He is a former general counsel with the National Security Agency who currently serves as a senior advisor for strategic and international.
So, first of all, Las Vegas casino getting hacked is not the worst thing customer can happen to. Most customers that are there to gamble away money that they could lose, or try to get rich quickly. And so it's not like a hospital, so it's not as bad as hospital or some place where they take care of patients, or maybe some place where they actually make people life different, like they make a difference in people's lives. Let's just say maybe your grocery store and things like that. But I still, you gotta feel for the rich over here, like people that gamble a lot, people that have the extra money to gamble. But even then, this has made it to CNN, just shows you the power of the casinos. They were able to get this reported. Most of the hacking incidents doesn't make it to the news the same day it happens. Usually you wait 14 days and so forth. So let's keep watching.
International studies. John, to you first. How widespread was this attack? I mean, the doors didn't work, elevators, personal information stolen. This was nasty.
Well, Jim, they say the house...
The doors not working is not nasty, but CNN likes to exaggerate sometimes when it comes to anything. So let's continue watching.
Always wins in Vegas. Tell that to the IT departments of MGM and Caesars. Two different hacks with two very different outcomes. Caesars saying in an SEC filing that they've been hacked, their loyalty program, which includes customers' driver's license numbers and social security numbers, although they say, to the best of their knowledge, that information has been deleted. On the other hand, you have MGM, where we've seen widespread outages from the casino floor to hotel rooms, that is having a devastating effect within MGM properties. I talked to Chris Tarbell. He's a former FBI agent who runs the cybersecurity firm Naxo. He says what's notable is the lateral movement of the hackers with MGM. They've been able to access all of these different systems, which is poor cybersecurity handling. You don't want to have these connected systems, because the worst case scenario, as it appears to be happening with MGM, is if hackers can get in one system, they can get in all of them.
Yeah, that's a bad setup, because when you have a multi-billion-dollar company like the casinos in Las Vegas, you would expect they have a better system structure, system design, not just to have it to where once somebody gets in, they have access to all the kingdom. What happened to maybe segregating their network? What happened to allowing certain subnets, VLANs? What happened to having like a different type of firewalls? So it seems like it's a poor design, and the CNN guy for once is right. They just kind of let it to where you have one key to everything. Once you get into the building, you're in everywhere. So that's a bad design.
And Glenn, what's your sense of what occurred here, and why casinos?
Well, to take why casinos first, it's that old Willie Sutton joke about why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is. So, look, casinos are a really good target for these criminals. Lots of money there, a strong incentive to pay ransom because they can't afford a single day of downtime. And they have incredibly rich data, which could be terrifically valuable to criminals, such as who are their major gamblers and financial details about them, et cetera. So lots of reasons that these are really good targets for the criminals.
And I got to think some high rollers were pretty nervous about all of this, John. And you know, speaking of the ransom issue, there are reports that Caesars Entertainment was asked to pay $30 million for a promise to secure its data and may have paid $15 million. Wow, what do we know about that?
So what's fascinating here is that it appears that Caesars did pay the ransom, as you mentioned. They said in the SEC filing that they've taken steps to ensure that the data has been deleted, although they can't guarantee it. That basically is an admission that they paid a ransom. MGM.
That's a bad move when it comes to paying a ransom. I think a lot of times people always talk about having several type of backups for your data when it comes to, you know, having disaster recovery. This is something like almost a disaster for any company, let alone a multi-billion-dollar company. So you would expect for them to have a contingency plan. What happens if they get hit by, say, a security incident like today? Will they just basically be folding like they did by paying ransom? And what will that mean for them in the future? Like paying a ransom is basically saying to people, hey, I have the money, by the way. And so now everybody knows they can pay and they're willing to pay. And so they're going to be a target on their back for a long time. And I bet there's going to be a lot of IT people losing their job over this easily because they easily can get scapegoated. Maybe they did recommend a solution. Maybe they did say, hey, this security system sucks. We need to get a better security system. And maybe the casino said, oh, we need to upgrade the infrastructure. Maybe we need to upgrade where the customers stay. Maybe there was a disagreement. We never gonna know those intricate details. But I feel like right now, the way it looks like, somebody dropped the ball. Or maybe it's an inside job. But let's continue watching.
Though, on the other hand, did not appear to pay the ransom, and we're seeing these widespread outages in MGM, not in Caesars. But, you know, it's ironic here that when these, for Caesars, paying the ransom is a gamble, right? Because you pay the ransom and you gain access to your systems, right? Well, one, it's not clear that the hackers will actually do what they claim they will do if you pay them the ransom. Two, there could be legal liability. It's not illegal to pay a ransom, but it is if it is a sanctioned group, for example, say it's North Korea. But the last point is that once you pay a ransom, you put a target on your back as a company who is willing to pay a ransom, right? Other hackers take note.
He finally hit my point. You know, everybody knows now you got the money, like he's saying, you know, so this is definitely something to be worrying about.
Chris Tarbell, the former FBI agent, said it might cost Caesar tens of millions of dollars to beef up their IT systems because other hackers will see this and inevitably make attempts of their own.
And folks might be tempted to not feel too sorry for the casinos, but they do. I've been out to Nevada and reported on.
I personally don't feel sorry for the casinos. I do feel sorry for the IT guys they have. Maybe they're just like normal people like us. I work in IT, and other people have a normal life. They probably don't see all the tens and 30 millions or 40 billion, whatever the casino makes. They don't see that money. They get a regular salary like every other person, so they're probably gonna face a big repercussion and may lose their job or worse, something happens. So you gotta feel for the IT guys because you don't want to see this happen to any company. And they're always going to be the fall guy is going to be the IT department, nobody else. So,
elections where the casino workers are highly important. There is a ton of casino workers out there in Las Vegas, so there are folks who are affected by this. Let's listen to how an MGM employee describes the attack to our affiliate KSNV. We should note she wanted to be anonymous, so let's listen to this.
It just throughout the day got worse and worse and worse until we had no access at the end of the day. More and more of the people that were working that day just lost access to everything. Just throughout the day, it was oh, phone lines are down. Okay, scheduling's down. Okay, now workday is down. Now everything is down.
Glenn, what does that description tell you and how widespread this was? It is pretty extraordinary what these hackers were able to pull off.
Sure, and it's not totally clear yet because MGM hasn't publicly said a lot about this hack, whether they turned off the systems themselves in order to prevent the criminals from getting further into their systems, and in order to get them out, they also have to sort of clean them out and reboot the system. So maybe they turned their systems off, which is, by the way, exactly what Colonial Pipelines did a couple of years ago, where they had to turn off their oil pipelines, even though the pipelines themselves weren't directly affected by the cyber attackers, because they had to do this. So what this is telling me is that we've been going down a path where, because of digital technology, it's really convenient to have everything integrated. So at MGM, you can have your loyalty reward program, your door key, your digital door key, the means of payment, how you order room service, et cetera, all on one app, incredibly convenient.
So this is an amazing point he's making. So a lot of times when you're working in IT, and this is always happens to every IT department, no matter how small or big, users love convenience. They love getting access to their system. And sometimes they overlook security. And I bet the IT people over there decided to integrate everything into seamless as possible as one system to make sure they accommodate users being inconvenienced. For example, being in the IT field right now, and being in the IT field in the last 15 years in general, I have seen that when things requires a couple more steps, end users are the first one to be telling you how inconvenient this is making their life is. Just enabling MFA for people, we have gotten a lot of pushback for that. And that's where the convenience people want. People don't want the security steps, but they want to be able to access every system just by writing down their password and logging in. And that's where as an IT professional, we have to draw the line in when convenience is actually going to impact security. So you may actually just say, you know what, MFA is going to require you to do extra step, but you know what, that's the rule now. You're going to have to live with it. You cannot just say, I'll turn off this restriction because users will be inconvenienced. So if the IT department of Caesars or MGM did that, like they did some convenience things for the users, that's on them. That's not good.
As well as for the person, but this creates incredible complexity. So if you have to turn off one system, you may be having to turn off your entire corporate network, which is apparently what we're seeing here. All of this is because we're based just on passwords in order to get into systems. And when criminals are able to figure out a way to pretend they're you, call up the help desk, as apparently happened here, and say, give me.
Wow, that's even worse. So they call the help desk person and obtain the credential of someone who supposedly works there. That is a classic social engineering. I believe there's a guy named Kevin Mitnick. He did this, a whole book. He was famous for this, where he had no technical knowledge. He would just go ahead and do hacks using social engineering. He will pretend to be somebody. He will walk into the building, pretend to be a janitor or whatever. Just being able to make people perceive us they're dealing with the correct individual. That is a classic hack. I mean, I can't believe that is what if that's what truly took them down, then I have to say they needed to train those users. They needed to, definitely reprimand the user that, or the help this person that gave up those credentials and gave it to the hackers.
Me a password, I lost my password, and they're able to figure out and spoof your identity because maybe they read some information about you online and they know where you were born, your birthday, they got your social security number somehow. It's possible to get your password and wreak havoc, as we see here, because they can claim to be you. And all this is based on the vulnerabilities of passwords.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, Glenn, is how do the casinos prevent this from happening again? I mean,
this is another thing about passwords. Microsoft has a lot of articles written about this one. They actually do not recommend passwords. They want, to get away from password, use more of a MFA, YubiKey solution. They want to use more of a passphrase that don't expire. That's easier for the user to remember, because the problem with password is if you make the password too long, people have to write it down. If you make the password too short, anybody can guess it. And if the password is something that expires, then people eventually will just use the same password all over and over again. So that's why having a passphrase is a solution, not just password. And also, without saying this, MFA, multi-factor authentication, it's a must.
Because if you walk into a casino and try to rob a casino, you're going to have a bad day.
Right.
But I wonder if their defenses are where they should be when it comes to cybercrime, cyber hacking.
So this particularly illustrates the vulnerability of so-called supply chain attacks, where some outside vendor, whom is normally trusted, has to be connected to your network to provide payments, insurance, some other system. And when someone can get inside one of these other vendors and use that to sort of ride into your corporate system, and you have a big, complicated corporate system with lots of vulnerabilities, this is going to be an ongoing vulnerability. Until we really move to a situation, which is going to take years, we'll probably get there, but until we move to a situation where we don't really rely on passwords that much, we use digital authenticators, we use facial recognition, we use iris technology, fingerprint, whatever the system is, as we move to something away from passwords. The problem with passwords is if you lose it, you've got to be able to call and say, hey, I lost my password, I want it back. Yeah. That very infirmity is what's at the heart of these problems.
Well, and that's what I was, that raises the issue of passwords, because it is the one thing that just drives everybody nuts, is trying to remember those passwords. But you really think it's better, it's safer to go with facial recognition, retina recognition software, that kind of thing?
So ultimately, moving away from passwords, the problem with passwords is it's always possible.
You can tell the other guy at CNN, the guy he's talking to is someone who seemed like he might be those people that write down their password, because he doesn't seem like he likes password. And that's just the whole thing with password. People, I have seen so many users, so many, people that I consulted for, so many, just even my family members, cousins, everybody just writes down password. And if they don't write it down, it's something simple like their name and birthday. So easy for people to guess or hack.
So to call the help desk and say, hey, I lost my password. And once we do that, the water's over the dam. But look, the technology is going to improve. We're still in a cat and mouse game, because the bad guys are going to figure out some way with artificial intelligence to spoof your face. So I'm not saying it's a panacea.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, what do we learn here in this video? This is a 8-minute video. If you want to watch it on your own, you can. But ultimately, my instant reaction is that there's a couple incidents that kind of made me feel like this was preventable. Number one, the hack, the way it was initiated, looks like they did social engineering. People, you call the help desk, and the help desk, the IT department, the help desk, maybe they don't have a procedure or process to check who is calling, and they may have given the credentials to the wrong person. If that seems like the probable cause based on the reporting. Number two, the way the system is designed with MGM especially, all the system is interconnected. Now, they probably did that, like the CNN said, for convenience, so people can access the reward card, whatever they want to access, all in one system. But being interconnected sometimes lead you to security. That's why for a multi-billion-dollar company, they should have a proper system design where that they don't, if they were to get hacked, and seeing how many hacking incidents that happen over the years, if they were to get hacked, they don't give the key to the kingdom to anybody, any hacker. And so if they did that, if they didn't learn from all the hacks that was going on, maybe they thought they were special. Well, today proves that they're not special, and they're actually more of a target. And a lot of people, 90% of the people that see this news, they won't even feel bad for them, because they're casinos. They are literally society. I guess most societies, most countries is, I guess, gambling. And these people encourage gambling. They are people that loses their, houses, personal wealth and whatever, I don't want to get into too much detail of the casino, but it's forbidden. A lot of people, religion, a lot of people, morale does not, nobody likes gambling. So the fact this happened to casino might be not the worst thing that could have happened, but you got to feel for the people, the employees that come to every day, to work every day over there, like your housekeeper, your maintenance people, your IT guys, those people that are just normal every day, want to make money, living, you got to feel for them. But as far as the executive, the millionaires and the billionaires, there's nothing to feel bad for them, and so they just they will rebuild their wealth in no time. Those 15 million or 30 million they potentially supposedly paid, they will get it back in tenfold in no time. And so the victim are the people that work every day. And then ultimately, this is a reminder, you're never too big to get hacked. This is a reminder that if you work in IT, take security extremely seriously. Let that sink in, if somebody can target a company that has way more resource, way more, access to everything, they can target us as the big, small, the small guys, the people that us, like, we work for small companies or that don't have the billions of dollars. Then we need to be even more vigilant, more aware, and more importantly, perform user training about social engineering, help desk training, systems training, everything that you can think of preventing this should be extremely thought about. That's all I have for you guys. I'm gonna try to do a little bit more reaction of this type of videos. If you did like this type of video, please comment below what grabbed your attention in this video. Take care. Have a good rest of the day.